Yo Diddy's trial just popped off and the stuff coming out is straight up bananas. A male escort took the stand and started dropping bombs about what went down between him, Diddy, and Cassie. He said, well, one time Cassie asked me to, urinate on her, and it did stop there. He said some real messed up things that had Diddy's own daughters bouncing from the courtroom crying. Let's find out more about this shocking revelation. The trial begins, the federal sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs kicked off on May 12, 2025 in a Manhattan courthouse. After months on ice following his September 2024 arrest, the hip-hop mogul finally had to face the music with agery, ready to decide if he's headed to the pin for decades. Diddy's facing 5 serious charges, 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force fraud or coercion, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. The feds claimed Combs was running his business empire. Like a criminal organization orchestrating sex trafficking, coerced sexual performances called freak-offs, and other shady business spanning 20 years, the 55-year-old hip-hop boss rolled into court looking nothing like his jail pics, rocking a gray beige sweater and clean formal fit. Combs seemed in decent spirits, flashing a heart gesture and thumbs up to his fame in the gallery court. Artists captured the scene since cameras aren't allowed in federal court before things jumped off. Combs reportedly told Judge Aaron Subramanian, "I'm a little nervous today." This whole case stems from a bunch of civil lawsuits, mainly the bombshell 2023 filing by Combs' ex-singer Cassie Venture. Though that case got settled quick fast, it triggered mad additional civil suits and a federal investigation. The feds got their hands on a 2016 hotel surveillance video CNN dropped in 2024 showing Combs putting hands on Ventura footage that became key evidence at trial. The trial started with swearing in a jury of 12, 6 men and 6 women, plus 6 alternates picked from over 600 potential jurors. Jury selection had started on May 5, 2025 with mad screening. To make sure nobody was biased from all the media coverage, potential jurors got grilled about what they knew about the case, their experiences with sexual assault or domestic violence, thoughts on hip-hop, and feelings about alternative sexual lifestyle. Combs rolled deep with a high-profile defense squad, led by attorneys Mark Agnello, Tenny Karagos, and Brian Steele, heavy hitters, who've handled major cases. His mama Janice Combs and several of his 6 grown kids were holding it down in the gallery, showing family support. The opening statement set up the whole vibe. Was this coercion or consent? Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson came out swinging for the prosecution, painting Combs as a manipulative kingpin who flexed his fame, bread, and business empire to run a criminal enterprise exploiting women. She said Combs was out here committing crime after crime with his crew, including kidnapping, arson, bribery, drug distribution, and witness tampering. Johnson broke down these freak-offs, describing them as multi-day drug-fueled sexual performances, with coerced women and male sex workers often recorded without permission. The prosecution claimed Combs kept victims obedient and compliant with drugs like ketamine and X, then held the recordings as blackmail. Focusing on Cassie Ventura, Johnson alleged Combs forced her into sexual acts with male escorts, physically abused her, and controlled her through financial dependence and threats. She also mentioned another victim, Jane, who was allegedly coerced into freak-offs and subjected to violence, including Combs kicking down doors at her crib. Johnson stressed this case wasn't about Combs's celebrity status or sexual preferences, but about coercive crimes. She promised to bring receipts, including the 2016 surveillance video to show Combs' pattern of violence. The defense, led by Tenny Karagos, came with a completely different angle. They admitted Combs has a temper and history of violence, but argued his actions were just toxic relationship drama, not sex trafficking or racketeering. Karagos described Combs as a swinger whose sexual encounters, including freak-offs, were all consensual and part of a lifestyle common in the entertainment industry. Karagos challenged the prosecution story by questioning witnesses' credibility, suggesting they might be chasing a bag through civil lawsuits looking for a quick payday. She pointed out that victims didn't report incidents to police at the time, suggesting they were cool with what was happening. The defense also tried to cast doubt on the 2016 surveillance video, claiming it showed a complex but decade-long consensual relationship with Ventura. Rather than trafficking, they had previously tried and failed to argue the video was manipulated. Though CNN stood by its authenticity after the opening statements, the prosecution called their first witness Israel Flores, now an LAPD officer who was A security guard at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles, Century City, in March 2016, where the surveillance video of Combs attacking Ventura was recorded, Flores described responding to a distress call from Ventura on the hotel's 6th floor. He found Ventura with a purple eye and a hooded jacket, desperate to bounce repeatedly saying, "I just want to leave." Combs, described as having a devilish look, was blocking her exit. Flores offered to call the cops, but Ventura declined. He testified Combs offered him a wad of cash to keep quiet, which Flores turned down. During Flores's testimony, the jury watched the 2016 footage showing Combs wearing just a bath towel chasing Ventura down a hallway, hitting her, throwing her to the ground, kicking her twice, dragging her, and throwing a glass vase that shattered. Prosecutors said this happened during a freak-off. While the defense claimed it was just a domestic dispute, defense attorney Brian Steele went at Flores's credibility during cross-examination, pointing out that his written incident report from 2016 left out key details like Ventura's purple eye or Combs' devilish expression. Steele suggested these omissions made Flores's memory or truthfulness suspect, trying to plant seeds of doubt with the jury. This hotel surveillance footage became a major piece of evidence in the case. So eye-wastling. Y'all earlier in the show that after being in court yesterday for the opening statements and the first couple witness testimonies, I think that Diddy could potentially get off. His legal team is really like that. Now here's why the second witness, for the prosecution who'd everybody in the courtroom shook, was Daniel Phillip, a male escort and former manager of a male review show. Heist's explicit testimony about his involvement in Diddy's alleged freak-offs with Cassie Ventura would become the hottest topic from the trial's first days, but nobody was ready for the straight-up wild details he was about to spill, or how his words would have the whole courtroom and social media buzzing like crazy. The male escort's shocking testimony. Daniel Phillip, a 41-year-old male escort and former manager of a male strip show, took the stand as the prosecution's second witness on May 12, 2025. His testimony had everybody's jaws on the floor, with graphic details about the alleged freak-offs Diddy was running. Between 2012 and 2014, Phillip testified he got paid to get busy with Cassie Ventura. Between 2012 and 2013, while Combs watched, directed, and sometimes recorded everything these freak-offs went down in hotel rooms across New York, Los Angeles, and other cities, sometimes lasting up to 10 hours straight. He said he got between $700 and $6,000 per session, always cash, money with Ventura, usually handling the communication and payment. The price depended on how long and what kind of acts went down, including intercourse, baby oil massages, and in one wild instance urinating on Ventura at her request. He couldn't even engage in sexual activity with the two of them. And they haven't gotten to cross-examine him yet. Like Diddy's team started, and then they had to stop. What about the urination? The urination thing, Phillip claimed Combs recorded everything on his phone or camcorder, and even took a pic of Phillip's driver's license for insurance, which Phillip took as a threat to make sure he kept his mouth shut. The escort broke down his first meeting in 2012 at the Gramercy Park Hotel in New York. Ventura hit him up, asked for a photo first, then invited him to the hotel. Phillip thought he was booked for a bachelorette party, but when he showed up, it was just Ventura at the door, rocking a wig and shades. Combs was there too, but trying to hide his identity behind a bandana and ball cap, telling Phillip he was in the import-export business. Phillip recognized Diddy's voice immediately, but only confirmed it was definitely him at a later meetup. When Combs answered the door in a suit, Ventura asked Phillip if he was comfortable just getting with her, suggesting she was trying to keep Combs from joining in, though Combs still ran the show, directing everything from a corner while pleasuring himself. The most disturbing parts of Phillip's testimony were the times he witnessed Combs physically abusing Ventura. In one incident, Combs threw a liquor bottle at Ventura for not coming into a room fast enough, then dragged her by her hair while she screamed, with Combs yelling, "Bitch, when I tell you to come here, you come here now, not later." In another situation at the Essex Hotel, Phillip heard Ventura crying and yelling, "I'm sorry," while sounds of slapping and slamming suggested Combs was beating her. Afterward, Ventura ran to Phillip shaking and jumped into his lap. Phillip said he told Ventura to leave Combs, warning her she was in danger, but she stayed in the relationship. He never reported the abuse to police, saying he feared for his life because of Combs' power and the implied threat from having his driver's license. Photo. The escort testified he mainly kept in touch with Ventura through texts. checking on her well-being and occasionally meeting up just to make sure she was okay under cross-examination. He denied having feelings for Ventura beyond their professional connection, though he admitted to a bond and said he would have dated her if given the chance. He described Combamise as having a hair-trigger temper that turned violent. Quick Philip detailed how Combamise controlled every aspect of the freak-offs, giving specific instructions about sexual acts and the use of baby oil, which later showed up in the indictment when large quantities were seized from Combs' properties. One of the most shocking twists in Philip's testimony involved allegations about a golden shower during one of these encounters. Initial reports from the prosecution suggested that Combs had forced a male escort to urinate in Cassie's mouth, but when Philip got on the stand, he flipped the script completely. He randomly was just recounting their experiences, and he just came out and said, yeah, because they were asking him, what are some of the things you would have to do? He said, well, one time Cassie asked me to, urinate like the jurors when he got into because he was speaking directly about Cassie and the fact that Cassie allegedly asked him to do it. And that's why he did it. And he was saying that at first he didn't know how to do it. Philip mentioned meeting another male escort during one freak-off, describing him as a black male slender build, and they exchanged numbers. He said multiple escorts were involved in similar situations across cities like New York, Los Angeles, Miami, and Atlanta. These encounters went down regularly over the 2-year period, with Philip participating multiple times, though he hadn't seen Combs in person for at least 10 years before the trial. The graphic nature of Philip's testimony visibly affected people in the courtroom. Combs' daughters, Chance Delilah and Jessie, left the courtroom in tears on May 12th, unable to handle the detailed accounts of their father's alleged actions. Combs looked tense AF during the testimony, sitting back in his chair as Philip spilled all the tea. So his daughters are there. I was sitting behind them. It was awkward for me to watch them have to listen to all of this. After he started the male escort started getting into a lot of the masturbation and stuff. They got up and left. Defense attorney Xavier Donaldson cross-examined Philip on May 13th, focusing on Ventura's role in the encounters to suggest she was a willing participant. Donaldson asked if Ventura was in complete control of her actions and whether she appeared drunk or high, trying to cast doubt on claims of coercion. Philip recalled only one instance where Ventura seemed under the influence. The defense tried to suggest Philip had feelings for Ventura, which Philip denied beyond their professional relationship. They also questioned his male review business practices, possibly looking for ways to damage his credibility. Philip admitted he was initially drawn to these encounters because he was hyped about being around celebrities, but got disillusioned after witnessing Casabouce. He described being shocked after the first encounter, saying he didn't know what the hell just happened. Female escort's testimony backed up key elements of the indictment, especially regarding the coercive nature of the freak-offs and Combs' use of violence and intimidation. His account lined up with Ventura's 2023 civil lawsuit, which alleged similar abuse and helped kick off the federal charges. By bringing Philip to the stand, early prosecutors were establishing a pattern connecting the freak-offs to the racketeering and sex trafficking charges his testimony supported. Claims that Combs used his empire to facilitate and cover up crimes. The defense, led by Mark Agnafilo and Tenny Garagos, kept insisting these encounters were consensual, part of Combs' swingers lifestyle, and no evidence of trafficking or racketeering. They admitted Combs had domestic violence issues but denied the federal crimes, and then sitting next to that, you have the prosecutor, you have the defense attorney opening up and saying he is, if he was being charged with domestic violence today, he would be guilty. They owned up to all of it. So cross-examination focused on Venture's agency with questions about her initiating contact and requesting specific acts, like the urination, suggesting she was a willing participant. This approach highlighted the defense's strategy to reframe the freak-offs as consensual adult choices. Philip's testimony set the stage for Cassie. Ventura's own testimony, scheduled for May 13th and 14th, 2025, as a key witness. Her account would either strengthen or weaken the prosecution's case built through Philip and other evidence, with the courtroom still shook. From Philip's graphic revelations, all eyes turned to Cassie, whose testimony would be just as crucial in determining whether Diddy was headed to the pen or walking free. Cassie's testimony and the bigger picture. Cassie Ventura, the prosecution star witness, took the stand on May 13th and 14th, 2025, to drop her side of the story about her relationship with Sean Diddy. Combs, her testimony was highly anticipated since she was at the center of all the allegations that led to the criminal charges against the music. Mogul Ventura's testimony backed up many of Daniel Phillips' claims. She described the freak-offs as humiliating, drug-fueled events. Combs forced her into that, left her feeling violated and degraded. She confirmed Phillips' statements about hiring escorts through platforms like Craigslist and Cowboys for Angels, and detailed Combs' violent behavior, including incidents of dragging, kicking and smashing her head against walls. Her account matched Phillips regarding how often these encounters went down, sometimes weekly, and where they happened: New York, Los Angeles, Miami, Atlanta, Turksand, Caicos, Ibiza. She also confirmed Combs' use of recordings to control her, similar to Phillips' claim about the driver's license photo used for insurance. The alignment between their testimony strengthened the prosecution's case, establishing a consistent pattern across multiple witnesses. This corroboration was crucial, since the defense was trying hard to question witness credibility. Venture's testimony expanded on previous allegations from her 2023 civil lawsuit, which got settled quickly, but triggered the broader investigation. She named specific escorts involved in the freak-offs, including one called the Punisher, and described the excessive use of baby oil and hotel room damage that typically resulted from these encounters. Her demeanor on the stand, tearful yet composed while recounting humiliating experiences in open court, hit different with observers pregnant and visibly emotional. Venture's presence humanized the allegations in a way that connected with people watching. One of the most significant bombshells in Ventura's testimony was her reference to major celebrities involved in the freak-offs while specific names weren't disclosed to the public. This revelation had everybody speculating about who might be implicated and raised questions about why more celebrities haven't spoken out about Combs' alleged behavior. The trial has generated massive interest, not just for its wild details, but for its potential fallout in the entertainment industry. Dubbed America's Celebrity Trial of the Century, it has everybody wondering, who else might get dragged into this mess? As the case continues, several celebrities have been mentioned in connection with Diddy's case. Though their levels of involvement vary widely, some are named as alleged participants, witnesses, or associates, while others are mentioned casually, without accusations of wrongdoing. The jury selection process itself referenced various celebrities with potential. Jurors asked if they were familiar with figures like Michael B. Jordan, Kanye West, and others. This doesn't suggest these individuals did anything wrong, but indicates their potential relevance to the case. Some celebs have been directly named in related lawsuits. For example, Jay-Z was named in a December 2024 amended civil complaint filed by an anonymous plaintiff who alleged she was drugged and assaulted by both Combs and Jay-Z in 2000 when she was 13 years old. Jay-Z hasn't publicly commented on the lawsuit, and no criminal charges have been filed against him related to this case. Others like Young Miami Caresha Brownlee were mentioned in Rodney Lil Rod Jones' amended complaint filed in February 2024, which alleged she was part of Combs' sex trafficking operation. Young Miami has denied these allegations. On social media, the reaction from celebrities to the trial and the shocking testimony has been mad quiet. Many who used to roll with Combs, either at his lavish parties or in music collaborations, have gone radio silent. This silence probably comes from legal caution, fear of catching strays, or uncertainty about the truth of the allegations. A few brave souls have spoken out. Singer Jaguar Wright, known for keeping it real about the music industry, has publicly supported the alleged victims in Combs' trial. Musician Al B. Shore, who shares a son with Combs' late ex Kim Porter, has expressed doubts about Combs' actions and backed investigations into the broader allegations. Actor Corey Feldman commented on Combs' arrest back in October 2024, stating, "It's disgusting, and I'm so grateful that justice is being served." While this came before Phillips' testimony, it reflects sentiment among some celebrities who see the trial as accountability finally showing up. Fan reactions to Daniel Phillips' testimony have been straight up divided on social media platform X. Some were shocked and disgusted by the graphic details, while others questioned the credibility of witnesses and the motives behind the prosecution. Supporters of the accusers view Phillips' testimony as credible and backing up Ventura's claims. They often frame the testimony as evidence of systemic abuse within Combs' empire, aligning with the prosecution's criminal enterprise narrative. On the flip side, Combs' defenders question the testimony's credibility and the prosecution's motives. They suggest the explicit nature of the testimony is being sensationalized to take Combs down. Others argue that the encounters described were consensual, echoing the defense's framing of Combs as part of a swinger's lifestyle rather than a criminal enterprise. The presence of Combs' family in the courtroom has been a major focus of reaction themament when his daughters bounced during Phillips. Graphic testimony was widely discussed on social media and in news reports, highlighting the personal toll of the proceedings and influencing public sentiment. Who told him to leave? Did he say leave or no? Did he didn't tell him to leave? I don't know if there was a conversation or not. I looked up from writing and I saw them get up. Legal experts have noted the significance of the trial's use of the Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act RICO to go after Combs' business. Empire Phillips' testimony about the systematic nature of the freak-offs supports the prosecution's claim of a criminal enterprise. A conviction could set a precedent for using RICO against celebrities accused of systemic abuse, changing how similar cases are handled in the future. The trial has also sparked speculation about other high-profile figures potentially implicated in Freakoff's attorney Tony Busby, representing multiple plaintiffs in civil cases against Combs, has sent demand letters to unnamed A-list celebrities suggesting potential lawsuits or settlements to avoid public naming. This has heightened fears among celebrities about reputational damage, even if not directly implicated Judge Aaron Subramanian's decision to bar Freakoff. Videos from open court citing potential re-traumatization of victims limits public access to key evidence. This underscores the testimony's sensitivity, but may fuel skepticism about the case's transparency, as the trial continues expected to last 8-10 weeks. More witnesses will likely take the stand, potentially revealing additional details about Combs' alleged criminal enterprise. The prosecution plans to call 3 or 4 accusers, including Ventura and possibly anonymous witnesses, to further establish a pattern of coercion and abuse. The case underscores broader issues of power dynamics in the entertainment industry, particularly regarding coercion and abuse enabled by fame and wealth. It has reignited discussions about accountability. For powerful figures, drawing comparisons to cases like R. Kelly's for Combs, the stakes couldn't be higher if convicted on all counts. She's looking at major time in the pen for his accusers, including Cassie Ventura and the escorts who've come forward. The trial represents a chance for vindication and justice after years of alleged abuse, as one commentator noted during trial coverage. Regardless of the outcome, the graphic testimony and evidence presented have already permanently changed how people see Sean Diddy Combs and raised serious questions about power consent and accountability in the entertainment industry. What they're saying is the video didn't happen because of a bad freak-off. They're saying the video happened because of a bad argument, no matter why it's happened. I don't think that the jurors are going to be able to separate that video from their mind, whether the jury will be able to put aside the disturbing video evidence and testimony during their deliberations, and whether they'll see Combs' actions as criminal exploitation or just toxic relationship drama remains the big question. As the trial moves forward, the outcome could have major ripple effects not just for Combs and his accusers, but for how the entire entertainment industry deals with issues of power abuse and accountability from now on. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content. According to his former bodyguard Gene Deal, when Diddy was a free man, he used to perform crazy initiation rituals on the 3rd day. They would drink, party, be merry, and the men would have with each other. The Lil Rod court documents show how Diddy, alongside Universal Music Group executives and other associates, are in a gang that allegedly lets Diddy groom and kill artists like Usher, Bieber, and Biggie. But now that he's in prison, the same prison Epstein died in, these initiation rituals he used to blackmail and groom people have taken on a much darker tone. Here's the truth of the prison called Hell on Earth: Diddy's House of Terrors and Rituals. Tragically, the downfall of music producer Andrew P. Diddy is being accompanied by a series of little dirty secrets dancing in the light of the day. One of the horrifying secret occurrences is his gang initiation ritual, which has been characterized by paying homage to curtain spirits at midnight during the full moon and a night of endless homosexual activities. By the initiates, people who believe in the cult was looking for that moon on 12/12 at 12 p.m. 12 Ozoe Damn, and they were doing spiritual rituals at that time. Who is this dude and how did he know this? This is Gene Deal, a former celebrity bodyguard who has done extensive protection work for Bad Boy Records and was P. Diddy's personal bodyguard. For a number of years, he was even on the scene as Puffy's personal bodyguard on the night rapper The Notorious Big was shot and killed. Now that you know who Gene Deal is, let's proceed with his shocking revelation about Diddy's wild ritual, the celebrity. Bodyguard explained that on the last day of the ritual after the full moon has been sighted and the seasons are changed, that's when people, they paid homages to certain sacrifices and homages to certain idols, and on the third day they would drink, party, be merry. And the men would have with each other. Shockingly, Gene Deal is not holding back any information. He is spilling all the beans about the ritual process Sean Diddy Combs indulges in, and you heard him on the third day, he explained that the men would exchange gifts as they drink and marry, then wrap up the night by having with each other. If you don't believe it, look it up for yourself. Coming straight up from the comment section. This dude has a whole lot to say about the ritual. Gene Deal was talking about the ritual you mentioned is called the cremation of care, and traditionally a baby or child is burnt as a sacrifice to deity, called mulak. Most elite celebrate this at the Bohemian Grove. The root of this go back to Roman festivals dedicated to the god Satanius made popular by Emperor Caligula. It's more based in Satanism than what most people call paganism, just wow. However, Diddy's former personal bodyguard is not the only one running their mouth about the extremely shocking lifestyle they experienced at Diddy's musician Usher, who was entrusted in Diddy's custody at the age of 13, said he saw very curious things when he lived with the music mogul. The You Got It Bad. Musician 45 appeared on the Howard Stern show in 2016, where he opened up about his time living with Diddy for a year when he was 13 years old. Hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things. Yeah. But you were 13. What were you seeing? I went there to see the lifestyle and I saw it and it was. But I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild, Usher. Then recalled that there were famous artists like Biggie Smalls, Lil' Kim, Craig Mack, Faith Evans, and Mary J. Blige, who were also hanging around at the time when asked if he was staying up until 4 a.m. partying with Diddy and his entourage. Usher said he could and actually stayed up longer than them in a different interview with Rolling Stone in 2004. Usher revealed that P. Diddy exposed him to a different lifestyle, specifically to a different style of sex. He explained is so hot in the industry, man. There was always girls around. You'd open a door and see somebody doing it, or several people in a room having, and you never knew what was going to happen. In February 2024, the musician and stepper also opened up to People's Magazine about the crazy lifestyle he experienced at Diddy's Flavor Camp. He recalled how he was able to meet the big tops of the industry at a very early age, and also witnessed the making of some of the greatest albums in the industry here called, I can remember Outkast making their first records and being able to hear Rico Wade work on these songs, literally sleeping in this man's living room, being in the dungeon, just kind of being around and just trying to figure out who's who. But here's where it gets crazier. After experiencing most of the fun of his life and meeting the right connections in the industry as a young boy, Howard Stern asked the musician if he would like to send his son to one of those Diddy's Flavor Camps to acquire the experience. He did. His response revealed a deeper meaning. You're a dad. Now would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp? No, hold up, did you see how straight up he came with that? No, he is not about to make the same mistake of sending his offspring to experience what he did. These two comments represent the reaction of most people to this 2016 interview. This person reiterated, would you ever send your son to Puffy Camp? No, he is laughing, but you can see the pain. In his eyes, it still haunts him. He got passed around by the entire industry. It's not worth sacrificing your soul for silver and gold. And another person added, him answering no to the question at the end, tell me everything I need to know about what Usher experienced. Shaking my head, to be honest, most people think that hell no was very telling in another light producer. Lil Rod's grooming process into Diddy's lifestyle is perhaps one of the craziest experiences of his life. It appears that when Diddy picked up the phone and called Lil Rod to be part of the brains behind his The Love album, his life has not been the same again. The initiation ritual process was terrifying, shocking, and diabolical. Sadly, he endured all of that crazy stuff because it came with a promise of a Grammy. I took a year off straight working on this album. That album is the Love album Off the Grid by Diddy. And it's Grammy nominated right now as we speak. I should be, celebrating. But the truth is, I'm not Rodney Lee Rod Jones Jr. is speaking out for the first time since filing a lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs in February. In the lawsuit, Lil Rod alleges Comey sexually harassed, drugged, and threatened him while he traveled and lived with the rapper between September 2022 and November 2023. In an interview with Rolling Stone, the 38-year-old music producer said he feared for his safety and his life. He also tagged Diddy as a monster. Lil Rod also alleges that Diddy did not pay him for his services after producing 9 songs off the album. I'm broke. I have no source of income right now. Every month, I'm trying to figure out how the bills are going to get paid here. I am standing up for justice for what I believe is right for my life, and I'm being punished for that. I'm black, Bilal for sure. He said in the interview anyway. Before we go deep into Lil Rod's allegations and lawsuit, take a look at this creepy footage of Diddy with young Justine Bieber detailing how the events of their next 48 hours together was supposed to be unfolded. He's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose. And I remember at the time, most people were concerned about what an adult was doing with a 14-year-old in an undisclosed location and doing undisclosed activities. However, in the most shocking turn of events, an inmate from prison could not settle with the traumatic events he experienced during his time in a Michigan nightclub with Diddy in 1997. So, you know what he did? He filed a $100 million lawsuit against the rapper and won based on default judgment because neither Diddy nor his lawyer showed up for the virtual hearing. The mind-blowing case was set in motion by Derek Cardelou Smith, an inmate at Ernest C. Brooks Correctional Facility, Michigan, who is known for his long history of challenging the judicial system with civil lawsuits. Derek Cardelou Smith is currently serving 75% of jail time for criminal sexual conduct and kidnapping charges, but did not allow his jail time to restrain him from seeking justice after being sexually assaulted by the entertainment mogul nearly 3 decades ago. Hold Up, the lawsuit claims that Cardell Smith and rapper P. Diddy met while he was working at a Detroit area restaurant in 1997 during a night of drinking and weed smoking. They reportedly had sex with a group of women, according to the suit. Cardell Smith said he felt a man's hand touching him, which he claims was Diddy's, according to 51-year-old Cardell Smith. I then went to get another drink, and Sean asked me if I needed something else. I said no, and he said, "Here, drink this one." And I thought it was another glass of Jim Beam, so I took it because I had sat one down in the other room, and then I drank some more, and I stayed sitting there, and I began getting drowsy and started to pass out, and then Sean Comey said to me, "I added a little something to it for you. I will get that from you anyway, one way or another." And then I passed out, and he made me a financial offer of $2.3 million to allow what happened to me to go away. Now here is where it gets spicy. Cardell Smith then provided prison facility information with Diddy's name logged into the visitation record, which allowed him to claim that P. Diddy offered him $2.3 million to dismiss the lawsuit after he filed it. During the August hearing, Derek Cardelou Smith told the court that P. Diddy persuaded him to drop the $100 million lawsuit and accept an out-of-court court settlement, saying, "You know how we get down." Cardell then replied, "I disagree with how you get down." In that regard, the court granted his motion for a restraining order, or your motion for a temporary restraining order was granted. I've signed it, and so we'll get that processed and back to you, and then you'll have to obviously serve that on the parties. However, Diddy's attorney Mark Agnello refuted the judge's statement about his client being properly served with the lawsuit. He said that his client looks forward to having this judgment swiftly dismissed. If their claims stick, the case would be called back, and Cardell Smith would have to prove his allegations and claims in court, the mogul in custody. Some people said the simultaneous home raids by federal agents on 2 of Diddy's homes in Miami and Los Angeles earlier this year were signs that the rapper would soon be going down R. Kelly's path. Well, they were right, because on Monday, the embattled music producer and rapper was arrested in a Manhattan hotel in New York City. Barely 24 hours after the news of the $100 million judgment against him went viral at the time of the arrest. It was unclear what the charges against him were because he was arrested based on a sealed indictment by a federal grand jury, according To TMZ, just a couple of hours before the rapper was arrested, he was confidently strolling the streets of New York City, greeting and taking selfies with fans alongside his son. Christian King Combam's sources reported to TMZ that the rapper's arrest was scheduled for Tuesday morning, but due to some complications, Homeland Security surprised the rapper in a Midtown hotel where he was staying and arrested him. Based on a sealed indictment issued by the Southern District of New York, it has been confirmed that Diddy was taken into federal custody in Lower Manhattan. It appears the action was taken in connection with the ongoing criminal investigation into alleged sex trafficking and other offenses that led to search warrants being issued. And executed at Diddy's homes in Beverly Hills in Miami, a courtroom sketch shows P. Diddy in his first courtroom appearance following the indictment, where the charges against him were read and litigated, according to the 14-page federal grand jury. Indictment: Sean Diddy has been charged with racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion and transportation to engage in prostitution, according to news reports. As expected at the hearing in Manhattan, the rapper pleaded not guilty to all the charges labeled against him and has tried to bond his way out of jail, but to no avail. Diddy Combs has been denied bail in connection with the sexual abuse and sex trafficking charges he faces, and as Lester Trump reports, the music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions. It was then reported that the music producer spent his first night behind bars in one of the most notorious jail facilities in the world, Hell on Earth. This facility's name feels so intense and suggestive of the horrible living conditions as described by Inside Edition news reporter Les Trent. How bad is it inside this federal lockup? There have been 2 murders, 4 suicides, and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years. It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here. Unfortunately for someone like Diddy, who had enjoyed a life of luxury, comfort, and freak-offs, he would definitely find a hard time adapting in his new environment, where he has only a half-in mattress without a pillow, plastic chair, and just 3 5-foot spaces to move around. Reports say that Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnafilo, told the judge that the facility is inhumane and a total tragedy. Hence, he is trying all he can to keep Diddy out of jail. His attorneys were so eager to keep him out of jail, to the extent they are offering his $48 million mansion in Miami Beach and his private jets, as bail. Inside Edition reported that Diddy's lawyers offered to restrict female visitors from visiting his house if granted bail, except for his mother's sisters and mothers of his children. However, the judge refused to bend. After spending a night in Hell on Earth, CBS News reported that the music mogul walked into the courtroom for his bail appeal hearing, looking calm and humble. However, despite the confidence in the calm fronting, he walked in with the federal judge denied him bail again, saying that if released, Diddy is more likely to tamper with evidence and or witnesses. This is largely because prosecutors accused Combs of witness tampering, saying at the hearing yesterday that the rap mogul's employees tried to ensure his ex-girlfriend Cassie and hotel employees wouldn't say anything about a beating at a Los Angeles hotel. 8 years ago, they argued that video of the assault, which captured Diddy kicking and stomping on the singer Cassie at the Intercontinental Hotel in 2016, disappeared from the hotel server before it was later obtained and published by CNN. According to authorities, bags of pink powder were found in Diddy's hotel room during his arrest after Diddy flew to New York to await arrest 2 weeks ago. On the advice of his lawyers, bags of pink powder were discovered in his hotel room. Although the powder was not tested, the prosecutors said it appeared to be narcotics, and that similar bags previously seized at Combs' properties during the home raids tested positive for drugs, including ecstasy. Note that during the same raid, 1,000 bottles of baby oils were also retrieved from Diddy's residence. It is why some people think it would be hard for Diddy to get out of this mess, because he spent his entire career working tirelessly to retire. In prison as evidence, authorities have interviewed more than 50 witnesses and collected dozens of cell phones, laptops, and hard drives. And they have a video that they claim shows the coerced sex and heinous acts that Diddy is accused of orchestrating. Hold up, guys, let's not forget Lil Rod Jones. February lawsuit against Diddy, according to producer Rodney. Lil Rod Jones, 73-page court document due to his job description, which required filming P. Diddy. At all times, he has secured 100 hours of footage showing P. Diddy alongside his associates and guests, engaging in a series of illegal activities, which includes the use of ecstasy drugs and distribution of unregistered firearms. His lawsuit alleges that the A-list rapper has been involved in sex trafficking and assault on Lil Rod and other victims, including minors. Lil Rod's accusations, as well as the grand jury indictment, portray Therapper as a horrifying abuser and monster. However, in his defense, Diddy's lawyer warned that his client should not in any way be mentioned in the same sentence as some of the country's most notorious criminals. According to NBC News, the music mogul's defense attorney Mark Agnell said, "Combs is not disgraced singer R. Kelly, sex cult leader Keith Raniere, or accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein." Mark Agnello objected to the claims of the federal grand jury indictment that his client committed sex trafficking and other sexual assault-related charges. He referred to Diddy's crime as only cheating and being unfaithful over a dark period. He told the court, "This is different, these were consenting adults." Funnily, he added, "This is evidence not of sex trafficking, but of being caught being unfaithful." In his argument to grant bail for Diddy, Mark reminded the court he was in a 10-year loving relationship through dark periods, although the first trial seemed to have gone out of their favor. Diddy's lawyer is still hopeful for bail in order to get his client out of hell on earth. He revealed that the rapper planned on surrendering to authorities before he was arrested in New York while talking. To reporters outside the courtroom, Mark Agnello said, "Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent. He came to New York to establish his innocence." Then he proceeded to assert his claims that Diddy is not afraid and he would fight to the finish. There's nothing that the government said in their presentation today that changes anyone's mind about anything. Why was Diddy arrested happening? Right now, hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs is in a federal courtroom this morning. The indictment was just unsealed, revealing that Combs is facing charges of trafficking and racketeering. To be honest, Diddy's arrest did not meet anyone as a surprise. The beginning of 2024 kicked off with a waving flag announcing Diddy's tragic descent. With the spree of lawsuits and assault-related allegations that were fast rising against the rapper, like his hits on Billboard Hot 100, it was only a matter of time before the feds came for him. Reading through the 14-page indictment was a jaw-dropping moment for me, as the charges against the rapper are too heavy for the mouth to hold. Nevertheless, I will break it down for you. The grand jury indictment against Sean Diddy Combs alleges 3 serious charges centered on the rapper's lifestyle dating back to the 90s, when the applause and attention were all on him on count 1. The grand jury charged him with racketeering conspiracy, which alleges that the music mogul has, over the decades of his career, abused, threatened, and coerced men and women around him to fulfill his wild desires, while simultaneously protecting his reputation. Just like many other people, you might be wondering how the rapper was able to do all these extremely wicked, shockingly evil and vile things and still appear like a saint bearing the name Love. Well, according to the indictment, to do so, Combs relied on the employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engage in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Disturbingly, P. Diddy's pattern of abuse hinges on the manipulation of women and other people around him to participate in highly orchestrated performances with commercial workers, most times for his pleasure. But this is where I knew the rapper would be gone. For long, the federal grand jury has tagged most of the businesses and enterprises led by Diddy as a criminal enterprise. And you know what that means, right? According to the indictment, Sean Diddy Combs and other known and unknown associates are members of a criminal enterprise called the Combs Enterprise. The federal grand jury alleges that since 2008, up to the time of their filing, these members and associates of the Combs Enterprise engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other activities, trafficking and interstate transportation, for the purpose of, according to the indictment, the purpose of the enterprise includes fulfilling the personal desires of Combs, particularly those related to Combs' gratification, including through the exploitation of women, and the use of commercial workers. On count 2 of the federal grand jury indictment, P. Diddy is charged with trafficking. The grand jury alleges that between the period of 2009 to 2018 in the Southern District of New York, where Diddy's enterprise is stationed, and elsewhere, Sean Diddy Combs engaged in interstate and foreign commerce, in which he knowingly recruited, enticed, and transported a person tagged as Victim 1 to engage in commercial with disregard to the Fact that victim 1 was engaging in commercial due to force, fraud, and coercion on count 3, the grand jury charged the embattled music producer and A-list rapper Sean Diddy Combs with transportation to engage in, according to the indictment. Between the period of 2009 and 2024, Diddy, who has been tagged as the defendant, knowingly transported an individual in interstate and foreign commerce with the intent that the individual engages in prostitution. The grand jury further alleged that the music mogul willfully caused the transportation of female victims and commercial workers in interstate and foreign commerce on multiple occasions, with the intent that they engage in it. Is not a surprise to know that most people believe that Diddy's arrest, the federal grand jury indictment, and the previous home raids were attracted by the horrifying 2016 hotel hallway footage obtained by CNN, in which Diddy was seen physically abusing ex-girlfriend Cassie. According to CNN, the video was from an incident in March 2016. It captures multiple angles. Cassie, whose name is Cassandra Ventura, alleged in a federal lawsuit in November that Combs and physically abused her, including punching, beating, kicking, and stomping her over the course of their relationship. However, shockingly, the lawsuit was settled the day after it was filed. Cassie Ventura anchored her courage to call Diddy out on New York's Adult Survivors Act, which allows victims of domestic abuse and assault to make a case, regardless of when it happened. According to her, with the expiration of New York's Adult Survivors Act fast approaching, it became clear that this was an opportunity to speak up about the trauma I have experienced and that I will be recovering from for the rest of my life. In the video, Cassie Ventura exits a hotel room and walks to a bank of elevators. Diddy, holding a towel around his waist, runs down a hall after Ventura. He grabs her by the back of the neck and throws her to the floor. Still holding his towel closed with one hand, he then turns to kick her. The video shows as Ventura is on the ground, Combs retrieves a purse and suitcase from the floor near the elevators. He turns around and kicks Ventura again as she lies motionless on the floor. About 4 seconds transpire between the two kicks. According to the video, he then briefly drags Ventura by her sweatshirt toward a room before walking away after the video was released. Diddy shamefully offered an apology online, claiming that he was in a bad place and he had sought therapy and now fully recovered. But you know what? Just when Diddy thought it was over, another lawsuit slapped him, and then another one. Then they kept coming. I'm sure you still remember the events of February 26, 2024. Yes, Lil Rod filed a lawsuit against his boss Diddy, in which he alleged that he was subjected to unwanted advances by associates of Diddy at Diddy's direction during his stay in the rapper's house. Disturbingly, he also claims that Diddy forced him to have with workers, according to producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones. 73-page court document. The A-list rapper has been involved in trafficking and assault on Lil Rod himself and other victims, including minors. But here is where it gets crazier. The lawsuit identified rapper 50 Cent's former girlfriend and the mother of one of his children, Daphne Joy, as one of the alleged workers. The lawsuit also alleges that he regularly hosted trafficking parties with underage women and illegal drugs, and implies record label executives who looked the other way financially benefited from access to celebrities and dignitaries, including the British royal Prince Harry. However, Prince Harry is not accused of any wrongdoing or of attending parties himself. Without a doubt, Lil Rod's lawsuit feels like a wide, deep, never-ending dungeon dug to bury rapper P. Diddy and everything he had ever worked for. But again, we should not forget that in November 2023, shortly after Cassie's lawsuit, Joey Dickerson Neal filed a lawsuit alleging that Combs assaulted her and secretly recorded the assault while she was a college student. In 1991, it seems the rapper's freaky, disgusting escapades date back to the early 90s, according to the lawsuit cited by NBC News' Joey Dickerson. Neal claimed that on 3 December 1991, Diddy asked her out on a dinner date which she reluctantly agreed to, but that turned out to be the worst day of her life. She claimed that Diddy abused her, resulting in her being in a physical state where she could not independently stand or walk, just like a pattern. Her lawsuit also alleges that Diddy recorded the abuse and showed it to his friends and associates, although she reported the case to the police in New York and New Jersey, and also spoke to prosecutors. She was told by her colleagues they were terrified that Combs would retaliate against them and that they would lose future business and music opportunities if they made a statement in support of. Interestingly, according to news reports, between November until present 3, more women have come forward with lawsuits in the Southern District of New York, alleging that they were Assaulted by music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. As a matter of fact, 2 of the women alleged they were minors at the time of the abuse. Interesting times ahead. My fellows, if you love this video, click on the card showing on your screen for more videos.